Let's dive in. The movie begins with a happy family consisting of a father, a mother, and a little girl. The father's name is Andy, the mother's name is Vicky, and the little girl's name is Charlie. We see Vicky leaving the girl in her room and heading out with her husband. Meanwhile, the girl looks at the toys in her room and thinks about them. Suddenly, the toys catch fire. At the same time, her father senses danger and immediately returns to her room. He finds the toys burning and about to fall on his daughter and burn her. He quickly removes the burning toys and takes his daughter away. The surprise is that his daughter is standing in his arms, feeling nothing. In fact, she's happy. Years pass and they all grow older. Charlie becomes a young woman, and Andy begins having troubling dreams that keep him awake. When he leaves his room, he finds his daughter Charlie awake as well. Andy sits with his daughter, who tells him that she feels something unusual in her body and that her powers are overwhelming her and affecting her. Her father reassures and comforts her, telling her that if she feels like she's losing control of her powers, she should look around and focus on anything to calm herself. He keeps telling her that she is strong and can control it. At this moment, Vicky wakes up and joins them. They all laugh together and Vicky gets up to make them food as if nothing had happened. The story then flashes back to 2008 when Andy and Vicky were young. We learn that they had seen an advertisement for a secret organization conducting experiments with a specific chemical substance in exchange for a large amount of money. They signed up for the experiment and after answering some questions about their lives and health underwent the trial. The experiment had severe side effects and some participants literally died. However, Andy and Vicky were fortunate to survive and even gain superpowers as a side effect. Andy's power was the ability to control minds, while Vicky's was telekinesis, the ability to move things from a distance. When the two had a daughter, Charlie, she inherited both her parents' powers, along with a new ability, creating and controlling fire. However, Charlie struggled to control her powers, especially when she was scared, stressed, upset, or angry. The family kept moving from city to city to escape the secret organization that was after them. The organization wanted to capture the family and study them, especially Charlie, to understand how she managed to combine all these powers without any issues. In the present, we see Andy in a session with a patient, helping her quit smoking. The patient believes he's a doctor, but he uses his mind control power to make her stop smoking completely. After she leaves, Andy starts feeling weak and bleeding from his eyes due to using his power. Meanwhile, Charlie is at school, but she is lonely and has no friends. Most of the kids bully her, calling her crazy and weird. A teacher scolds the students and assigns Charlie some online homework. Charlie tells her teacher that she doesn't have internet because her parents believe it ruins the mind, which makes all the kids laugh at her. Charlie becomes very upset and is on the verge of losing control of her powers, which could burn down the entire school. However, she remembers her father's advice and looks around, trying to distract herself to calm down. When Charlie returns home from school, she sits in her room crying. Her mother sees her and sits with her. Charlie tells her mother that she doesn't want to go back to that school. Her mother tries to reassure her, saying they want her to feel like any other girl her age and not different. Charlie responds by saying that if they want her to be like others, they should get her internet like her classmates. Her mother explains that they don't have much money and that the internet really does harm the mind. She hugs Charlie and tells her that she's not different from other kids. She's special. Charlie asks her mother if she's afraid of her, but her mother assures her that she has never been afraid of her and never will be. That night, Vicky talks to her husband and tells him they need to teach Charlie how to control her powers so she can defend herself if something happens to them or if the organization tries to capture her. Andy disagrees, saying it's his job to protect her, even from herself, and that their daughter must hide her powers, as she has done all these years. The next day at school, one of the kids starts teasing Charlie and making fun of her. She becomes very angry and is about to lose control again, so she quickly runs to the bathroom. A teacher follows her and finds the bathroom extremely hot and filled with smoke. The teacher pleads with Charlie to come out, but a massive explosion suddenly occurs in the bathroom. Charlie emerges unharmed from the fire, leaving the teacher in shock. Police and firefighters arrive, and Andy and Vicky meet with the school principal. The principal tells them that Charlie refuses to speak or admit that she caused the fire or explain how it happened. The police start investigating the incident. That night, Vicky tells Andy that they could have avoided all this if they had taught Charlie to control her powers from the beginning. Andy explains that every time he uses his powers, he weakens, feels immense pain, and is slowly dying. He says he doesn't want to teach his daughter to use her powers because it would kill her little by little, just as it's killing him. He also tells her that they need to leave because the organization must have heard about the incident and is likely on its way to them. If they capture Charlie, they will turn her into a lab rat and keep her imprisoned for life to study her. At that moment, Charlie enters the room and overhears the conversation. Andy takes the opportunity to confess to his daughter that bad people are after them because of their superpowers. He explains that this is why they keep moving and avoid using the internet or phones. Charlie breaks down, saying she's tired of her life and even of her parents. Unintentionally, she burns her mother's hand. Andy quickly intervenes and saves her. Shocked, Charlie tries to call for help for her mother, but Andy stops her, assuring her that her mother's fine. Meanwhile, the head of the secret organization learns about the school incident and calls a man named Rainbird. He has superpowers and also works with the organization. They ask him to go and bring Andy and his family, telling him that Andy and the girl are the priority, while the woman is not important and can be brought alive or left behind. At that time, Andy heals his wife's hand from burns, and she suggests he use his power to control their daughter's mind to stop her from using her powers again. But Andy tells her he doesn't know what happens to people when he controls their minds and doesn't want to do that to his daughter. She tells him to take their daughter outside to calm her down and forget what happened. He lets her rest and goes out with his daughter. Meanwhile, Vicky, while alone, feels that something is wrong. She sees a police officer knocking on the door and asking if everything is all right because they received a call. Vicky tells her there was a small fire, but everything is fine, and the officer leaves. When Vicky returns to the house, she finds Rainbird waiting for her inside. He asks about Andy and his daughter, and when she refuses to tell him, he threatens her life, saying it doesn't matter and he could kill her easily. Vicky tries to escape and uses her powers against him, moving objects and attacking him from a distance. However, his power is much stronger, and he strangles her to death. When Andy and his daughter return home, Charlie tells him before they enter that she didn't mean to hurt her mother and was thinking about her. Andy tells her that he and her mother forgive her and love her because she's their daughter. They enter the house and Charlie goes to her room. When Andy goes to his room, he feels something is wrong and suddenly hears Charlie screaming. He finds Rainbird holding his daughter and threatening him. Andy tries to control Rainbird's mind but fails because Rainbird protects himself in a certain way. At that moment, Charlie senses that something has happened to her mother and becomes upset, causing the temperature in the room to rise. She then sees her mother's body, loses control completely, and destroys the entire place. However, she and her father remain unharmed, while Rainbird is thrown far away. Andy takes his daughter and escapes immediately. Rainbird survives but is severely injured. The next day, Andy is sleeping in the car on the road, with his daughter nearby, playing outside. Andy dreams of his wife and memories with her, feeling deeply saddened by her death. Meanwhile, Charlie plays with a cat on the street. When the cat scratches her, she accidentally sets it on fire. Her father rushes to her, and Charlie explains what happened. He tells her that the cat is in pain, and it's better to use her powers to end its suffering. Charlie manages to focus her power this time and kills the cat without any issues, but she breaks down afterward. Her father stays by her side. At the same time, the organization contacts a doctor who had previously overseen Andy's case and asks him to help them harness the child's power for their benefit. The doctor explains that the child's power grows with time, unlike other cases, and that she will soon reach the peak of her abilities, potentially causing a nuclear-like explosion with her mind from a distance. He advises them not to approach the child and suggests they eliminate her before she destroys them all with her power. Back with Andy and his daughter, after burying the cat, they talk. Andy tells her that Vicky wanted him to train her to control her powers and that he will start teaching her how to use them. However, he warns her not to use them frequently as it will negatively affect her over time. Contrary to his expectations, Charlie tells him that using her powers makes her feel very good and happy and that she doesn't feel her body temperature at all. Later, Andy and his daughter sit by the road, waiting for a car to pick them up. Eventually, an old man stops, and Andy asks him for a ride. At first, the old man refuses, but Andy influences his mind to make him agree. On the way, the old man invites them to have lunch at his house, and Andy agrees because his daughter is hungry. When they arrive, Charlie says she'll play outside with the animals, while Andy talks with the old man inside. While playing, Charlie explores the house and finds a room with an elderly paralyzed woman connected to machines. She leaves the room, but when the old man sees her coming out, he yells at her to leave his wife alone. Andy apologizes and takes his daughter to leave, but the old man stops them, apologizes for his reaction, and introduces them to his wife. He explains that years ago, while traveling, his wife was driving when they had a severe accident. He and their son were in the car, but their son died in the crash. He and his wife survived, but she became paralyzed and has been dependent on machines ever since. He offers them to stay the night, and they thank him for his hospitality. That night, Andy tells his daughter that on the day she was born, 2 people from the organization tried to kidnap her. He stopped them by using his powers in a terrible way, forcing them to kill each other. He asks her to promise never to use her powers for evil or harm innocent people, and she promises. The next morning, Andy hears on the news that he is accused of killing his wife and kidnapping his daughter. The old man sees the news in Andy's picture. Andy tries to explain to the old man that the news is false, but the man doesn't believe him and attempts to attack him, only to fall without Andy touching him. Andy tries to calm him down and tell him the truth. At that moment, Charlie enters and tells the old man she knows the truth, that on the day of the accident, he was driving, not his wife, and they were arguing, which caused the crash. She calls him by his real name, even though she didn't know it, and mentions his son's name. She tells him that despite everything, his wife forgives him and doesn't want him to feel guilty. The old man is amazed and deeply moved, realizing that Charlie can read minds. He apologizes to them, but admits he called the police. The police arrive in large numbers, but the old man tells Andy and Charlie to hide while he handles the situation. The old man tries to talk to the police and stall them, but suddenly Rainbird appears out of nowhere and starts killing the officers one by one, leaving the old man standing. Charlie senses Rainbird's presence, and she found out that he killed her mother. So she came out of the hiding spot where she was concealed, broke down the apartment door, and went to confront Rainbird. But her father came out behind her and ordered her to run immediately. He told her that he would face him instead. And indeed, Charlie escaped while Andy started to control Rainbird's mind, causing him hallucinations until his daughter had fled. However, Rainbird managed to break free from Andy's control and attacked him until members of the organization arrived and captured him. When Andy was brought to the organization, the leader scolded him for letting the girl escape. Rainbird told her that Charlie and her father shared a very strong bond and that she would come there to save her father and him as well. It was then revealed that Charlie was created and was not actually the daughter of Andy and Vicky, but rather Rainbird's sister. Rainbird warned the leader to take precautions before the girl arrived because she would destroy them all. But the leader dismissed his warning. The leader went to talk to Andy for a while, but began pressuring him to confess about his daughter. Andy remained steadfast and revealed nothing. Meanwhile, Charlie was alone in the forest, training herself to use her powers so she could rescue her father. While alone, 3 young men approached her, mocking and bullying her. She restrained herself and used her father's ability, starting to control their minds, forcing them to leave her a bike to use. They complied and left. At night, Charlie reached the organization's headquarters. She entered the car of one of the employees there and threatened him to tell her where her father was. The employee pulled out a gun and tried to shoot her, but she defended herself and burned him with her first strike, finishing him with the second. Then she moved through the building unnoticed, using the employee's card to open any door until she reached her father through the glass. She told him she had come to save him, but he was shocked and told her to escape immediately because she couldn't help him. At that moment, the leader entered Andy's room and told Charlie that if she tried to burn her, she would burn her father along with her. The leader told Charlie that they were there to teach her how to control her powers, just as her mother had wanted, and that they would also treat her father because he would die if he used his powers again. She explained that both she and her father needed the organization more than the organization needed them. Andy then told his daughter that she had to break the promise she made to him and destroy the entire place. Charlie was surprised by her father's words, but the shock came when Andy controlled his daughter's mind and ordered her to burn everything in the place. He made her burn the leader and himself as well. The staff watched everything on the cameras and ordered all the soldiers to attack Charlie. At the same time, Rainbird managed to free himself from the prison, killed the guard, and escaped. Meanwhile, Charlie roamed the building, burning anyone who came her way with her mind, until she reached a group of doctors wearing special suits that made her unable to burn them. They were about to capture her when Rainbird suddenly entered, killed all the doctors, threw away his gun, and knelt on the ground. Charlie stood before him, ready to burn him, driven by her desire for revenge for what he did to her mother. But she changed her mind after using her powers and discovering that he was her brother. She left him and walked away, heading to sit by the sea, grieving the loss of her father and mother. Rainbird then came to her, took her, and they left together to make up for the loss of her family and live together. And here the story ends. See you in a new summary, and thank you for watching.